3, 2, 1. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Buckhouse Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Benjamin Buckhouse, along with Johnathan Buckhouse on the other side. We are two brothers that just talk and just do our thing and just vibe in about an hour-long podcast. There are no topics. There are no real decisions that get made ahead of time. We just jump in, catch up over the last week of not talking to each other. And so I hope that you guys enjoy the podcast. If you guys do, drop a like, comment down below, join that conversation, and subscribe to see future content. With that being said, bro, how are things? I heard it snowed up in the mountains for you.
Yeah, we got our first snowfall at the very, very, very high parts. I don't count that as the start of the new season. So I'm going snowboarding the next 2 days. So those days will count towards season 8's day total and content-wise. Counts towards season 8. People always ask me when does the next snowboard season start. So I always count my episodes or yearly adventures on my YouTube channel in seasons. So we're in season 8 right now. Me and Ben started season 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is crazy. I'm closer to 10 than I'm not. So we're going into season 9 this year. And people always ask me, when does season 9 start? And I always tell them, season 9 starts when season 8 ends. It's that simple. And I don't know why people don't understand that. But my rule of thumb is the first rideable snowfall, unless it's in like September. One year we had it like the rideable snowfall was in September, like 4 weeks before the actual ski resorts opened. I didn't count that one towards the new year, because there's a lot of hype for the new start of the season. And I usually do like a launch trailer, things like that. So I don't know how we're going to do it this year with me no longer doing daily videos, which is another change in my life. We have now stopped posting daily content. And so, yeah, it's going to, I don't know. The start of the season might have more videos than normal because I also do like top to bottoms and these like very, almost like news type videos where I'm like, hey, here's what the conditions are like if you wanted to come to A-Basin. They open today. Here's your first look at it. And so it's like very timely, very like, check this out. I don't really want to count those as like my daily piece of content for the day. Those would be like a bonus video, I guess.
I was just about to ask about that because I know that those top to bottoms are your bread and butter, and I don't mean like in the sense of start of season, like start of the opening of that day or whatever.
They used to be. They used to be. When I mean, not to be like, I'm bigger than top to bottoms, but like when I first started off, like they would get between 8 and 30,000 views, which was like, oh my gosh, like that's insane. 30,000. I mean, for like 4 or 5 years, my most viewed video on my channel was 60,000 views, which is a lot. Now I got only 2 videos with 1 million, but I have a lot of videos with over 100,000 views, 200,000, 400,000. So they're not like the videos now, but they definitely bring in a lot of new subscribers. So I think that's the pull to it, is they do help with that initial push of like the people that are going to be the new super fans and the new followers for the season. These like top to bottoms definitely help with that.
Sorry, when I meant bread and butter, I meant more of like, that's just it's not your most important thing or anything, but it's something that you do every year. You've done it every year for a very long time now. So it's like, that's kind of to be expected from Johnathan Buckhouse, is a top to bottom when Keystone opens or when Breck opens or when A-Basin opens, right? So it's like, that's what I meant by your bread and butter. It's expected from you. Now, I believe that we did talk about you putting a little bit more effort into the top to bottoms, correct?
Yeah, I think I could change them or adjust them, because the way they've been is like, get up the mountain, be the first one up there, first run down, like rush. That's what it is. See you next time. And it's like, what if we take a different approach where it's like a lot slower paced, and it's like, hey, look at this. Like, this is what the kind of snow quality is like. This is like where you can rest. Like, really get more in depth than just like, this is what it looks like. See you later. Subscribe. It's funny because I've been doing this for 9 years basically now, like going to the majority of the first resorts to open and doing a top to bottom, and they have been successful. And so in a lot of ways I've created, I don't say a genre, but people have seen like, oh, he goes and does these opening day top to bottoms, And a lot of people have tried to either like beat me to having the first video out, or they do the same, they imitate what I'm doing, or straight copy and rip off what I'm doing. No, I'm joking. And so, yeah, if I don't do it, someone else is going to do it. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm going to still show.
Maybe you still post your kind of standard, just like you said, as fast as possible, top to bottom. But I was kind of thinking, what if you also did like what to expect at a basin right now? And what you talk about is like lift prices. So it's like a day pass costs about this much. You could do like a half day or whatever. Season passes you could get through Icon. Talk about, like we said, snow conditions, and then talk about like resting stops. Like they've got I'm blanking on the name, but like the restaurant open at the top of the chairlift. They also have it open at the bottom of the chairlift. This is where you can like literally like a just complete breakdown of what to expect on the first day. Be like, you got bathrooms over here, you got bathrooms down here, you got bathrooms in the woods. Like, break it down to like just a over explained version of it. But I know that a lot of families would like that,
Yeah, and that would be totally different than like what I have done, which is like I'd go to the resort to a top to bottom and then an opening day vlog. But instead of an opening day vlog, it's like an opening day update. So it's like, hey, if you come to a basin for this first chunk of the first 3 weeks of the season, like you're only getting 1/5 of the resort that's open. You only get these facilities, these chairlifts. I like that. So yeah, that's a good thought for sure. I definitely need to get to thinking to it, because I don't think you guys realize, maybe you do, but I posted 2,194 days in a row with my daily content. So I had plenty of days to like get a video out and to do things, and like now I'm somewhat limited. I'm only putting 3 videos out a week instead of 6. So it's like, what do I want? These videos matter more, it's like what is actually a video that's going to make it on the channel. It's not just me running around filming anything and be like, all right, that could be a video. Blah, there it is. So it's definitely different.
Just to recap, everybody, you said that you're no longer posting a long form video every single day. Now you're still getting the same amount of you essentially, because you're going to go live 2 days a week for 2 hours, and then we also have the podcast. So there's pretty much just one day where you're not getting a long form video. So with that being said, you then said that you were going to post 3 short form videos every single day. I have noticed some of them, admittedly, and we'll touch on this a little bit later, but I'm trying not to be on social media, so I haven't been watching every single one of them or anything like that. But how have you been feeling about your short form content, bro?
So I've been getting the shorts out. It's funny, dude. The moment you say something online, people think like, oh, it's like a light switch. But like, I'm like, hey, I want to go to 3 days a week. It's going to give me, like, I'm only going to put out the banger videos, things like that. I made that announcement video, but I haven't, like, this is literally the first, like, official week of that adjustment. This is the first podcast to be saying, like, oh, I'm no longer doing daily. I'm going into my first, like, today is the first full week of that new schedule. But people expected like all the content to be changed, everything to be shifted, and like people are commenting like, "Oh, I like the more highly edited videos." And I'm like, I never said I was gonna like more highly edit a video. I just said I won't be putting like me and Rowan fingerboarding out on the channel. Like I'm not gonna just like cram daily and film. People just had their own assumptions of, I guess, in a lot of ways of what I was talking about. I also had some haters being like, "Wow, this is the new better content." I'm like, dude, you literally know more about my life than I know about my life. Like, get a real life. But the 3 shorts a day is and isn't time consuming. Like to sit down and post 3 shorts between uploading like all of it takes about an hour to do 3 shorts. Just sitting there and like even just concepting it and coming out with it. I haven't got the shorts where I want them to be. I haven't got the editing to where I want it to be. It doesn't help that like the majority of the stuff that I've filmed recently has all been in 360. So like despite putting out less edits, the edits are still very time consuming. Like today's video isn't fully reframed in 360 footage. So like as much as I would love to put a ton of time into a short from today's video. I don't even have today's like long form video done yet, so I got to find my groove. I got to get into my rhythm, and that's the thing a lot of people don't realize, or they give up on too soon. Like, oh, it's not working. This is. It's like, no, like it's gonna take me like about a month to like really get this thing fluid and working and the way I want it to be, and that's why I did it before the season started. You know, I gave myself plenty of time to adjust and get into it. I've been also trying to go live on TikTok a couple times a week because that's very popular. And so, yeah, it's. I don't want to say it's been a lot, but it's not exactly where I want it to be yet. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's something that I haven't ever experienced with or experimented with, is that 360 footage. And for the listeners and viewers at home, holy cow, I have seen Johnathan the few times I'll go up there or whatever, and he's sitting there with his iPad having to essentially select the footage, and he's like walking around the living room, like moving his iPad like up and down because it's a 360 video, so he has to like frame it the way that he wants it and everything. It looks like a nightmare. It looks like a nightmare to do, especially if you're filming like that all day, and so you have to do that for all your footage. Like, I couldn't imagine having to do that, bro.
Essentially, you live the edit twice, you know, because it's all the same footage. So if you have 4 hours worth of footage, you got to reframe 4 hours worth of footage. But the reframe normally goes slower because you're trying to like see what you did and make sure you have it in the right spot. So that 4 hours really takes about 5 hours to go through, and then you got to put that in the editor after you reframed it, and then edit it again. So very time consuming, not ideal. I always would like to have a filmer because then I don't have to reframe everything. I can just stick it in the computer and edit it. But life's not perfect, and sometimes you just got to deal with it. So if you guys do get a video where I'm holding a selfie stick or I got the mouth mount in, and you watch anything that I filmed in 360, just know that video took twice as long to edit. So give it a like, maybe subscribe. Definitely to this podcast. Yeah, bro. So shifting topics, how was Vegas? We talked about me a lot, but you and your wife Kirsty went to Vegas for some birthday parties, or for your birthdays.
Yeah. Vegas was a lot of fun. It was very hot. It was about 105 degrees consistently, but it was like that. It was nice. Like it wasn't that bad. There were some moments. It was, I believe, Monday. That was the day that I was like, oh wow, it is hot. Like, it felt hot that day, more so than the other days. But no, Vegas was a lot of fun. It was, my wife and I, our birthdays are a day apart, and so we usually just take one trip, which is just, oh, I love that. It just makes my life so much easier. We kind of talked about that too. It's like,
that's gotta be nice.
Yeah, like just
and it's
just one trip.
And it's
in
a
year.
Nothing month.
It's a no.
I'm not saying your birthdays are nothing, but there's no holidays. There's nothing else.
Yeah. So our birthdays are September 1st and September 2nd. And what that comes down to is it's like you're guaranteed a 3-day weekend on the days of your birthday or the weekend after your birthday, because the first Monday of September is Labor Day. And so that's, you know, a big part of the reason why we like to take trips and everything, is because we have a 3-day weekend. So that's awesome. But also, we love September for a lot of reasons, not just for our birthdays, but it's like football started. Literally, like, you know, on Thursday, football started. So we were watching football. And then it's also like when weather starts cooling down and fall starts and everything. So we love that, like, September, in my opinion, not trying to be biased, but it's one of the best months. There's so much that is happening that just signifies like fall time and the change from summer, you know, and everything. So we love that. But no, Vegas was a lot of fun. We didn't do a ton. We did do a couple shows, and we did some shopping. My wife likes to shop, so we did some shopping. But no, we did the high roller, which is the Ferris wheel.
No way, your wife likes to shop. Whose wife shops?
I know, that's crazy of me to say. No, we did the high roller, which is the Ferris wheel by the Lynx and the Flamingo, which I didn't know this, but it's the highest Ferris wheel in like North America, at least, or something. And I was like, okay. But it was cool. It was cool. And then we did that right around sunset time, which it was very beautiful. There weren't a lot of clouds in the sky. It was pretty much only sunny while we were out there. So it wasn't like a crazy sunset or anything, but it was still pretty. And then we also did the Blue Man group, which that was the first time I did the Blue Man group. That was so much fun. They're such a funny group of people. And then we also did I always forget how to say it, but Cirque du Soleil at the New York. So it was the Mad Apple Cirque du Soleil. And I honestly didn't really know what to expect from that, but that was really cool. That was a lot of fun. That was my first Cirque du Soleil for Vegas. But yeah, no, it was just a fun trip. Nothing bad happened. Nothing crazy happened. We did eat at one nice restaurant. We ate at the Alexa's, which is across the street from the Bellagio. So we had like the fountains going off while we were eating dinner and stuff. So that was nice. But no, it was a pretty chill trip. We had a lot of fun.
Good, bro. That's exciting. I know. I love September because it's like cold mornings, but like then it gets warm throughout the day. So like, yeah, you're right. Like everything's changing. Like all the leaves up here are now starting to turn yellow. And yeah, I'm wearing a hoodie right now because it's cold in my house, but later it's going to be hot. So like I like the two different temperatures, like best of both worlds. And September is always like grind season for me because normally the season starts in October. So as much as I love September, it's like that's my show up month. It's like, yo, get all the stickers made, get your plan done, like what's happening, who are you hiring, things like that. So like it's always been a lot for me.
The temperature change, like I am wearing a hoodie as well right now. Now I'm not in the mountains like you, so I don't have that same temperature drop or anything, but it's a love. Sorry, back to yard. It's a love-hate relationship because in the morning you'll have a hoodie on, and then in the afternoon you're going to be taking that hoodie off. So like depending on what you're doing, you now just have like this nuisance with you, or like not that it really matters, but it's like your outfits can change or whatever, like if that the style that you're going with or whatever can change. So no, it's like a love-hate relationship. I'm literally wearing shorts and a hoodie, that type of stuff. It's just all over the place. Last podcast, and it may happen again, I'd like had to take my hoodie off in the middle of the podcast because I got hot. So it's all over the place. But no, September's just like you're saying, the leaves start to change, the weather starts to change. In my opinion, like my wife was talking about it. She's like, the way that she sees it is like the holidays are coming. And I see that as well. I also see it as like the end of the year is coming. Now, we've talked about this in the past. I don't really care about like New Year's resolutions or like, oh, new year, new me. Like that's not the type of stuff I care about, but it still is, a part of the year, that there is a year, from January to December. So it's like, we're approaching the end of the year. That's the way I see it. When September comes around the corner, it's like that last stretch. So,
well, for me, my year does start when the season starts. Like, I think we've talked about this before, but some people, their year is literally December to January, and that's what they consider their year. But for me, my year starts in October. Like when the ski season starts, that's like, all right, new season, season 9. Like that's my new year. So my year is from October to October, I guess, or October to September is my yearly cycle. So yeah, normally I implement new things in October and go from there. They're not New Year's resolutions, but it's hard. I think everyone has a mental like this is when my year starts. It could be for some people, it could be school. Like when the school season starts, that's their new year, or their kids' school season starts. So. Yeah, I'm a big fan of having a time in your life or like a certain time frame where it's like, okay, this is when I should be making changes or not being like check yourself, make sure you're not stuck in ruts. Like truly, like what do we got? August. What's before August? June.
July.
June is July. June, July. Yeah, it's like the end of July, early. I like to sound like I don't even know my months, but go backwards with your months. It's a lot harder. I like to like look at what I'm doing in life in general, like everything. It's like, what can I do? And that's like a big reason why I started 75 Hard, because I was like, okay, I have about 75 days till the season starts. I put so much time and energy into my health these last couple of years. Like, what's the last, like, what can I do right before the year starts to like really kind of shape up, get in shape, be healthy for like my strongest year yet? And I was like, literally, I just said it. 75. It was like 75 days till the season starts. So I was like, I guess we're doing 75 hard. And so here I am, working out twice a day, eating very clean, like things like that. I'm enjoying it for sure, and I love how much I'm crushing books. But I've already had the 10-page rule when I am in a flow of reading, so it's like nothing new. But it is nice when it's like, oh no, I got this little checklist that I have to check off. So, I'm showing up every day because I like checklists and like goals. I really knock them out when I have to do that.
That's awesome. That's crazy how many things don't revolve around the January to December calendar. Most businesses run off of their fiscal year, which generally end in February. So it's like, March to February. That's like their year. That's how most businesses operate. Schools, like August, September time, depending on their district and where you live and everything. But like, anywhere from August to September until, May, that's like a school year, that type of stuff, right? So it really is crazy how many different businesses actually don't follow that rule of like, yeah, January is the start of the year and December is the end of the year, that type of stuff. It's pretty much just like, that's just the calendar year. And for, I don't mean this in a negative way, but for your average person, yeah, like that is their year. From that. And even from a video game standpoint, video games don't really have seasons, but there is a time of the year where video games do come out. So November, that's a common time where a lot of the popular games come out. Call of Duty, Halo, just those types of games come out during that time. Now, of course, there still are video games coming out every month of the year, so it's not really like a season, but that is like a more popular season for those informative YouTube channels and things like that. So, it's very interesting how few businesses actually operate around that 12-month calendar like that,
Well, and like, I mean, you pay taxes on the 12-month calendar, but you actually don't file taxes till like April, which is kind of funny as well. But I busted my arm out to show my tattoo of like, do not be shaped by this world. Like, if that 12-month calendar, or not even 12-month, but if that like December, January year doesn't work for you, like, you don't have to do what everybody else is doing, as simple as it being just a mind shift, like in my mind, I run a different year than everybody else. And so once again, you don't need this, I got to wait till January 1st to start eating healthier or to start reading or to start running. Like, you literally can do it, one, whenever, but two, you can create your own yearly calendar in your head that works better for your life. Like, I showed off the tattoo, but like, you don't have to be shaped by this world. Like, I truly stand by that. I'm not a big fan of doing what the masses are doing or following the crowds. I think everybody can like find their own path, their own way of doing things, and you don't have to do it the way just because someone says, "Oh, this is the way you do it."
100%. There's this motivational speaker. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. I can envision his head, like, or what he looks like. I can't think of his name.
That helps us a lot on a podcast.
No, I know. I'll figure it out. But anyways, he talks about how his 24-hour day, is 3 total days. He cuts it up into 8-hour increments. So, he has his first, I don't know the timing of everything, but let's say his first day starts at 8 a.m. So he starts at 8 a.m. and then that's like his business day. So he spends that quote unquote day, that 8 hours of him like getting his business done, talking with doing his meetings, all that stuff, anything business related. Then the second half of his day is like his fun part of the day. So from 4 to midnight or whatever, that's his hang out with family, any extracurricular activities like, gym, if he wants to go see a movie with his family, blah blah blah, like that's his second day. And then there's his third day, which is him like winding down for bed, going to bed, and then waking up the next morning. So he cuts it up into like 3 increments of days, and something like that. I'll have like a link or something down below if you wanted to dive more into that. But he just talks about how he's getting more out of an 8-hour period by incrementing it into 3 different days. Or did I say 8-hour period and a 24-hour period? He's getting more out of it because he's really separating it by 8 hours instead of it just being one full day. And that's just, like, just do life the way that works for you. Do life the way that you need it to. And it's not actually that I'm like sitting here like, fight the masses, screw the system. None of that. It's more so like, if you need to restructure your life, it's your life. Like, if you need to restructure it a way that works for you, do that, so.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's a fun way to look at your day, is like, okay, these are the chunks that I have. It's just hard when the third day is just basically sleeping, or for the majority of it, it'll be sleeping. I know I try to get 7 hours of sleep. 6 is like, it's a doable day, but like, I don't like getting less, but I totally can. I can function very highly off very little amounts of sleep. But, everyone stresses how important sleep is and getting it, things like that. But I do think there are a very few amount of people on this planet that can operate with little to no sleep, and I've developed that or become callous to that. So, but yeah, I'm trying to think of like that, what you just said for my life. And, I wake up when the kids are sleeping well, which they haven't been, I wake up at 3 a.m, no issue. And then it's like 3 to 7. So it's like 4 hours going to like office work. And then I get the kids ready. So like my life couldn't work like that because I got kids. So it's like, I get my 4 hours of office work, and then I get time with family, and then I get to the mountain and I get like my 4 hours. Like additionally of like snowboarding and riding, things like that. Now that Roman's in school though, I actually do get more office work, because I'll get done riding at like 1, 2, Roman's not out of school till 4. And I sit in my car, which kind of sucks, but I'll sit in the car and get more work done. And so I think that's also when I'll get more of the, short form, highly edited short form or ideas for shorts done, is like with this extra 3 hours of me like chilling in the car waiting to pick Roman up from school.
We've talked about it in the past, but like I do not enjoy, and I know it's like nobody cares, work harder, but it's like I struggle with working in an uncomfortable environment. Like in a car, I would have to create something that's like almost not like a desk, but like a comfortable workspace for like my arms and my mouse.
Bro, I got this cup holder, or Bobby got me, it's like a food tray that like attaches to your steering wheel, and it like hold my laptop. It's super comfortable. And then I don't know if it's because I pulled up to the mountain and sat in my FJ so many times and like mentally got ready for the day on the mountain, and like it's cold out, so I'm like warming up the car and getting all my gear on. But like me and my FJ, dude, like that's my spot. It's like I don't know. I get stuff done in the FJ. I don't know.
The FJ does have a lot of space. It's like when you crank that seat back, yeah, you've got a lot of space in the FJ, so that's fair. There's
just no space in the back seats. If you're in the back seats, Bristol, I have to like move the passenger seat fully forward for Bristol. Like it's the worst car seat car of all time. And so Bristol, I have to like crank the passenger seat all the way forward. Bristol's still like, Dad, my legs, move mom's seat. And then if Bobby's in the car with Bristol in the car, they're both like fighting for leg room. It's a disaster. Other than that, yes, for the passenger and driver, there's so much space.
Luckily, Bobby's not a big person, so but no, I've seen those trucks. I think it's like the Rams and Chevys. They have essentially like a workstation in the middle console, because they know that people go to like construction sites and they work and everything like that. So that's really cool to have that ability. And but no, I like to be not necessarily comfortable when I work, but it's like I like I don't want to have like my arms higher than I want them, and I don't want to like be too low. Like I don't know. It's like there's a certain level that like it's just like it allows me to get into that flow state that we've talked so much about. Like it instead of ever being a nuisance, it's just kind of like I'm in my natural habitat, and I can just kind of rest or relax to then just let my brain and my hands do the work type of thing. It's one less thing to think about, but at the same time, you got to work when you got to work, and especially you, since you travel so much, you've got to figure out those things.
The amount I've moved or traveled, or like yesterday, I was working in the library because like Bobby's out of town. Oh, we forgot to mention it. My little sister had her second baby, Eloise, a little baby girl, and so my wife Bobby went down to go help with that process, which is really rad to have a family. I know my little sister Sarah, when we had our kids, Roman and Bristol, Sarah came up to help and be a part of the whole process. Having a female that you love and trust in the baby room, whatever, in your hospital room, to help you go to the bathroom, help with the baby. So especially after you just gave birth, you can't move very fast. So Bobby's down there supporting that. So it's just been me and the kids up here. And so I have to get work done still. And so instead of making Bristol like sit around the house and be like, Dad, I'm bored, Dad, I took her to the library and just like exploded my workstation all over the kids section in the library. And I was just getting work done. And so talk about being uncomfortable. You're like sitting in these like little tiny baby chair library seats, like trying to get an edit done, things like that. But yeah, I don't know. You learn to do what you got to do. There's been times where I'm like, I got to get this edit done. I don't have Wi-Fi. I'm sitting in a McDonald's trying to get stuff uploaded. I've done it all.
But dang, bro, you're gonna just kick me to the curb that when Bristol was born, who came up to the mountains to watch Roman? Oh yeah, don't worry about it, bro. I don't know. I love that trip coming up to the mountains to help you guys out when Bristol was born. But yeah, the Wi-Fi situation, even with where you live now, has always been tough. But I remember like going to California on our trips and trying to upload the videos, and it was just fighting us every second of the way. Every second of the way, it's always fighting us. Do you like pre-upload videos when you're traveling now?
Yeah. So especially when I had Cody, so if I'm going to Europe, we would double down where I would get edit done every day and he would get an edit done every day. So then it would be really easy for us to get a whole week ahead of fully edited, uploaded, thumbnail made videos, so that I'd go on this week-long trip to Europe and not have to get any work done, which was really rad, and it's going to be really hard for me in a way to do that. Yet really hard and not really hard, I do have a posting schedule, but I will say, and I don't want to say this because then it might happen. Probably not, because I'm a psychopath, but because I'm not committed to the daily, if I got to miss a Wednesday upload, it's not going to be the end of the world type thing, because there is an expectation of, okay, I'm going to post these days of the week, be ready for the videos, but it's not like I'm posting daily and this is like the way it is and I'm not going to miss type situation. So if I'm going to Europe or this like world-class trip and it's like, I can't get edits done, I'm going to go enjoy this moment, but I'm going to film and create rad content, and then, we'll catch up on videos later. I think that's kind of going to be the deal. But yes, in the past, I have prepared the videos prior to the trip, and that has been so nice, or was so nice. And I'm still going to try to do that.
Now that's smart. And now that is like the difficulty of when your commitment loosens up, and it's not that you're this type of person, you're not a slacker, but it's more so it's like, yeah, when there's not that daily content commitment, it's more so like a posting 3 videos just in the week, preferably Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It does kind of like loosen things up, and I get that. And it's like I'm committing to streaming again, but it's already like I was out of town until Tuesday. Anyway, I got back from Tuesday. I was beat just from all the walking that Kirsty and I did, but I was so exhausted when we got into town on Tuesday. But anyways, it's like I couldn't stream Monday. streaming on Tuesday could have happened, but wouldn't have been like a good experience. So we just kind of passed on that. I did stream on Wednesday, and then yesterday we did not stream. And then it's like I was going to stream tonight. But speaking of our new niece, yeah, Sarah invited us to go see her tonight. And I'm like, yes, I want to go see my new niece. But it's also like, okay, so I was going to stream tonight, but that's the only time that we can go because work. And then after that, I was going to stream, but then the Packer game is on, and it's the first game of the season, and it's in Brazil, so it's kind of a big deal. And I'm like, is streaming going to happen tonight? And I'm like, there's just so many variables. There's so many things. I'm like, maybe I need to push the stream back to tomorrow, Saturday night, to just make this work. But yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't got planned that quite yet. So
if you want to watch Ben's stream, his stuff is in the description of this video, by the way. But no, I totally know what you mean. And for me, it's not a me thing. I'll show up. But when Bobby, my wife, knows, oh, you don't have to go film a video every day because you're not posting every day. Stay home today. You don't need to do that. Film that tomorrow. Do that. You know, she loves my attention. Most wives love their husband's time and attention. So her and the kids, there's never going to be a perfect time. There's always going to be a reason why you should stay home or whatever. So like, you know, it's hard for sure. So yeah, you loosen up your commitment, and then all of a sudden it's really easy to be like, oh my gosh, I just went a whole week and I didn't post a video. I think that's why I have this like, no, I'm posting Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and going live every Tuesday, Thursday. However, I had to shift my live stream from Thursday to Saturday because my wife had to leave town because my sister just had a baby. So I did pivot the live stream, which I think is fine. And it's nice to have Saturday and Sunday to make that up. But I am excited to have a schedule where ideally I want to get it to where like Saturday and Sunday, like I'm off and I get to, and Roman's off from school, and I get to put all those 2 days into the family, kind of like a normal job, and then actually legitimately work the proper amount of time Monday through Friday is the dream.
Yeah, and those weekends are going to become a lot more valuable to you when the kids are going to school full time, because that's like the time that you can take them on a trip or go do something and this and that. Because I was talking with Steven about it, which Johnathan just got tattooed by him. You want to show the camera?
I didn't know when we were going to talk about the tattoo. I guess this is the best way to show it. I actually love that it's hard for me to show off the tattoo, because this might sound dumb, but I didn't get the tattoo for anybody but myself. It says "one more," and it's on my hand in an area where no matter what I'm doing, if I'm holding something, if I'm strapping into my snowboard, whatever I'm doing, I can always see it says "one more." Kind of like Ben's, like, no one cares, work harder. It's a little mantra that I've always kind of had in my head, where it's like, you know, you just ran a mile. It's like, well, just do one more, you know, or it's like, I'm trying this trick and I'm so frustrated. I'm so over it. It's like, dude, do it one more time. Like that push to do whatever you're doing one more time. And, you know, I put on my hand, which obviously if you work like a office job, or to some people, like that's like a no. It's like essentially getting a face tattoo to some people. But as weird as it is, I've always dreamt of having a hand tattoo. I was like, if I ever become a professional snowboarder, I'm going to get my hands tattooed. Or like, it was the thought. So like when I am strapping in, I can like see it. And I'm wearing a hoodie right now, and like, I love the placement. I love the tattoo because I'll wear a long sleeve, a jacket. It's always visible to me. It's not always visible to everybody else. I can like point, use my hand, and no one can really see the tattoo, but I can see it. And so I'm a big fan of it. But yeah, Steven, my childhood best friend, I met this dude when I was like 5, started tattooing, and I got tattooed from him. He also designed my logo for me. And I love hanging on to friendships. I think it's one of the raddest things.
Yeah, and where I was getting at with that was, before we come back, but I was talking with Steven, and he's doing this tattooing as a side gig right now. And I asked him, I was like, do you ever want this to be your full-time career? Because he's a graphics designer, so he already has a pretty cool job. But he's like, I would like for it to be, you know, eventually a full-time thing to be tattooing, because there's good money with it. But he's like, if you're a full-time tattoo artist, though, your weekends are completely booked, because that's the only time you can that's the only time that people can get tattooed is on the weekends. So he's like, I don't want to do it yet because I want that time with my kids. He's like, I want to have that time to be able to, do their sporting events with them or take them on trips or whatever. So it's like, yeah, he values his weekends. So he tries to just do it on the evenings if he can. And sometimes on the weekends if he absolutely has to, but for the most part, he just tries to keep it just on during the, the week and stuff like that. So, just valuing that time.
The raddest part about that and the raddest part about kids is like it might seem like forever. Like Steven's like, yeah, I want to save my weekends, but like soon his kids will be graduated and out of the house, or like essentially like his kids won't be in school, and he'll have so much life left to be a tattoo artist. And like you ever like talk to an old person and they've lived like multiple lives. It's so cool, and I don't ever want to think I'm going to be done snowboarding or not making snowboard content, but like I'm definitely in the professional snowboard part of my life. But like eventually there'll be another part of my life that's something different, and that's kind of cool. Like my dad has a whole military part of his life, and then he has a whole different part of his life. Like sometimes you get so stuck in the now that you forget that like you're gonna live so many chunks of life, like so many decades of this, and then now you did a decade of that, and then this. Like, so being a parent, it's cool because you're gonna essentially give 2 decades, depending on how many kids you have, roughly 2 to 3 decades to your children, and then you have like 5 to 20 more decades. I'm gonna live to 120 of life left, and I don't know. I think it's the raddest thing.
Bro, sometimes you scare me. 5 to 20 decades. 20 decades, 200 years. Dang, bro, you're going to live forever. But, no.
You have no idea, man. We're going to put our heads in, like, bottles, and, like, I'm just going to, like, get my brain transplanted into Fortnite, and I'm gonna just dominate online games for the rest of my life.
The future is both, like, I don't mean this in a bleak way, so hear me out, but it's like the future is so scary because of technology, like AI technology and all that. Like,
it's gonna kill us.
But it's
gonna kill us.
just as a reminder, technology, science, education, that type of stuff is an exponential growth, right? And to put that into perspective, like 20 years ago, we didn't know what an iPhone was, and to think that now it's like 4-year-olds have iPhones is just mind-blowing. It's like it's such a common thing nowadays, and technology is just growing, and like AI has already gone so far.
People are literally gonna live, sorry not to cut you off, but people are literally gonna live a life online, like virtual reality. People are going to like put a headset on or something on, be in a vibrating suit, and like that is their, like they literally like don't live in the real world. They only live in like The Sims. Like that's gonna be a reality.
So I haven't finished the movie. I started it usually on a plane, and I think I can finish it on like HBO or something. But I know that it's also I want to read books. I want to read fiction books. I've had this like itch for it, which I've never really done. I've read like maybe the first Harry Potter and stuff like that, but I want to read a fiction book. Maybe I should read Ready Player One, and that's the movie I was talking about, because that is like what's going to happen. Ready Player One is literally like about virtual reality of people putting on a headset and like essentially being drug addicts, but for virtual reality. Like that is real life. That is going to happen, and that's such a sad thing to say, but it's like it's real. And like some people have already kind of like people have ruined their lives over like World of Warcraft. I remember our mom did not want me to play World of Warcraft because it was such a addicting game, and like there was stories of people neglecting their kids and like them being starving over because they were so addicted to the game, which is, it's very real, but that's very sad. But it was like that was happening in like 2006 when you were playing on just your slow computer with dial-up internet. Now you have the fastest internet and the fastest technology and the best technology we've ever had, and you can just dive so much into this, and it looks more realistic than ever. It's higher quality than ever. There's more of it than ever. We're in a very dangerous part of the world, and yeah, dude, it's like I want to watch Ready Player One and finish it because I don't know like the outcome or anything, but it's like I'm scared of the future to a certain extent. Technology is scary, but you're right that like a healthcare and medication and science and everything is going to advance so much, and just also the natural evolution of people that we can potentially live to be like 120, 150, like pretty easily, especially the future of like in our lifetime, people will be on Mars, whether they're living there or just visiting. In our lifetime, people will be on Mars. Like that's going to happen. Who's to say that, somebody can't live to be almost 200 years old?
The craziest thing is Mars is flat. Like, I'm joking. I'm a Mars is a flat earther, but I just had this thought when you were talking about World of Warcraft and how people get addicted to it. You can look at a human, and they might be overweight, they might be unhealthy, they stink at their job, all they want to do is play this video game, and you're like, man, their work ethic sucks. But their work ethic in that video game is insane. Because I've played these games, like, you're not playing WoW and not having these grind sections where you're going and like doing dungeons that are very grindy, or killing, you're trying to level up your characters. So you're doing this really grindy thing. If you're playing Destiny, you're grinding out these challenges. Like in the video game world, there's this really daunting, like show up every day, grind it out, work quote unquote hard in the game to achieve these things. And it's not that these people are not hard workers. They're just not applying their hard work to something that you might find valuable or the world seems to find value in. And I just had this thought. I was like, dang, like everybody technically can or is a hard worker, but only to things that they find valuable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was actually having a very similar thought recently, and it's not that I never thought of it before. It's more so I just was like, it was a thought in my mind, and it's like, life is such a unique thing, and everybody's life is different, and everybody values different things in life, kind of like what you're saying, where they value different, they put their work in different values in life. But it's like, who's to say that what they're doing is wrong? Who's to say that like they're not living life to the fullest? Sure, at the end of the day, like you should it's not an objective opinion, but it's overall a pretty agreed upon opinion that it's like you should try to experience the most out of life. You should try to travel. You should try to be in nature and see these beautiful things. Go look at the Grand Canyon. Go look at go see the mountains. Go see these beautiful areas. Go experience cultures. Go see a new culture. Like that is overall like a accepted thing in life. But admittedly, I do better in like when I expect it. But going out in everyday life, like I get really bad anxiety, like social anxiety. I don't like people. Like when I go to a busy store, it stresses me out to like the fullest. Now, if I go to like Disney, I know that there's going to be a lot of people, so it's not as bad for me. Like I can handle it a lot better, but it's like, for me, I don't want to do that on an everyday life. I would like it to be a lot more calmer and more, set together. And some people have that to a more extreme. So what if they hate doing that? But to them, like we're saying, sitting at home and playing that one video game and working their butt off in that video game. That sounds so weird to say, but Jonathan's not wrong. Like there's a lot of like tasks and achievements that you can get in the games, and sure, they're kind of artificial. To that person, like that's the coolest thing ever. That's the way that they want to live their life. And who are we to say that they're doing it wrong?
I think the only thing that really matters is with video gaming is if you allow it to affect your health is kind of an important thing, mainly because you don't want to die young. Being healthy is very proven to show that you're going to live longer. So I would only say, like, if you are that person that like you want to live in WoW and you want to give it everything you got, just do your best to make sure you put some time every day into your actual physical health, because sitting down and playing video games all day will eventually catch up to you. And once again, you don't want to die young. You want to live. You want to be here as long as you want to make it to where we can put our brain into Fortnite. I'm telling you, that's gonna be really fun.
Now that's like the one thing I this is a conversation of its own, but like body positivity, blah blah blah. I'm here for it. That love yourself and love who you are and everything, but also, yeah, like don't your health is so incredibly important. You can't ignore it. You can't like you said, like die young or whatever, but it's also like we talked about with like suffer now or suffer later, where it's like either suffer now and go to the gym and get fit and be healthy, or suffer later and be like overweight and miserable and your body aches for no reason other than just you're overweight, So it's like, yeah, like that's like the one thing that is like, sorry, but objectively you should have a healthy lifestyle. Like objectively you should. But if you're having a healthy lifestyle and playing a ton of video games, that's fine. Just have a healthy lifestyle.
No, totally. And me being a dad, I pick Bristol's 3 now. She's definitely like not a baby anymore. So I pick her up. She's 30 pounds. And, Roman still likes to get picked up occasionally. He's almost 40. He's very light. He should be in like the 50s. But I tell them, they see me work out all the time, which I love being a good example to them. But they're like, Dad, why you work out so much? And I'm like, because I want to hold you for as long as I can. And like, that's a real thing. Like, I don't want to get to a point where it's like Bristol's too heavy for me to hold, or I can't pick Roman up because it hurts my back, or anything like that. On top of like, I tell Roman this all the time too. I say, I want to meet your kids as kids, which would be crazy. Because normally, I'm so thankful that my grandparents got to meet my kids, but I want to even go even further, man. I seriously want to be 120. I think that is going to be fully achievable in my life, totally possible. And the way I will get there is by clean eating and being healthy. I heard this thing too, that if the people that live the longest are the ones that have good balance. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm already ahead of the curve because I got pretty solid balance. I got to keep it up. But having really good balance and not falling is one way to live longer.
I see these things that just make me laugh, where it's like some of the oldest people that have lived, like this person lived to 110 or whatever. Like, it is sad because, to be honest, not all of them lived the healthiest lifestyle. I've seen like essentially memes where it's like, let's say you're interviewing Steve, who lived to be 110. They're like, Steve, what'd you do to live to 110? He's like, I drank a Coke every day. Drink Coke every day. And it's like, that's the most random thing. It's like, he just honestly so happened to live to be 110. It's not necessarily that he like did something crazy or anything. Now, he didn't do something absurdly crazy, like be extremely overweight or anything. He didn't do that. But it's like, no, it's weird how you can or cannot live to be really old. Now, yeah, there's statistical things that can help you, like Johnathan's saying, have a really good balance and eat very healthy and don't smoke, don't put any of those toxins in your body, stuff like that. That's all like, yeah, that's going to help you live to be a long time. But, going to a more morbid approach, like, life is also extremely short and anything can happen. Tomorrow's not promised. So it's like, you got to live every day to your fullest, and also just try to statistically help yourself to live to be the longest you can,
Yeah, and I know I do a very dangerous sport, especially once I go into the backcountry. I love what I do, but the reality of me dying with what I'm doing, especially at the level in which I'm doing it, is a reality. So, like, obviously, I want to live to 120. I could always mess that up and cut that way shorter, which I'm laughing about it now, but that's awful. I don't live my life in fear, but yeah, like, obviously you could get sick. So many people get their lives taken away way too young, but so many people do kill themselves between whether it's drugs, smoking, a lifelong of smoking. And I'm not saying, and some people, that's their choice. They're like, I'd rather smoke every day and die in my 50s, 60s than live a life not fulfilled. It's kind of like that live for the now. Some people don't want to save any money, like, why save for a bunch of money for when I die type thought process. So where I'm going with this, I had a point. This doesn't ever happen to me. I had a point that I wanted to get to, and I lost it. Oh, where I'm going with this is there is a lot of people that, yes, smoke or do things with nicotine. They drink heavily. They don't eat well. But like, I look at the landscape and I'm like, you see a lot of males die in their 50s, die in their 60s. Like, it is not uncommon for a male to die in their 50s. And it's because they live the same life as so many other males. And so I look at that, I'm like, why would I do what they're doing? I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I've never smoked marijuana. I've never done drugs. I've drank some alcohol. But even with that, like I'm not a heavy drinker at all. So I looked at the landscape of, I'm like, why would I do these things that everyone else is doing that's not giving them a great outcome? And I mean, I am guilty of, I did get overweight for my size and all like that, but like that went from like having a crazy metabolism and not realizing that I can't eat Taco Bell every single day to where it's like, oh wait, I'm actually fat. Now I got to get in shape. But then I changed that, and now we're on that healthy lifestyle and we're actually eating non-processed food, things like that. So I don't know, like, look at the landscape. If you see a bunch of people doing stuff that's not working for them, just don't do what they're doing.
Yeah, and the number one killer in I believe it's of men in North America, like number one thing, and it might just be also for both genders, both sexes, but it's heart disease, heart failure, heart problems. So that's like the number one thing, and it stems from eating crappy foods, stems from drinking, stems from all that stuff. Like, that's the number one.
Not raising your heart rate, by going out and running a little bit.
Yeah, that's the number one cause for death in North America right now. So it's like, it is important to take that seriously and to take care of yourself. And there are people that die young, and it's very sad. And I might have touched on it before, but it's like a work friend of mine. She's older, but her husband got cancer, and they weren't prepared for it, and it's just destroyed their life, and it's just so sad. And it's very, like, that's a reality. Is that at any point you could just get that, I think it's a movie or something, but it's like somebody got lung cancer, but they've never smoked a day in their life. Like, that still is a possibility. Cancer is, it's I wouldn't say inevitable, but it almost is inevitable, that it can happen to anybody. And life is precious, life is short. You got to take care of it, you gotta value it. But it's also, like we said, who's to say that playing video games every day is the wrong way to live life? It may not be your way of living life, but it may not be maybe the best thing in the world to that other person. So this is a very intense conversation.
I think it's good. Honestly, I will say, so I announced that I wasn't going to be doing daily videos, and so I went back to season 2 when I quit my job. Technically, I quit like going into season 3 in that September timeframe that we were talking about earlier, but I went like looked at a lot of like a season 5, season 6, like a bunch of older seasoned contents, and you don't realize how out of shape you are until you're in shape, if that makes sense. So I look back at these videos, I'm like, dang, my face is so much more round, or like, oh, I definitely did have a belly in these videos, where it makes me very thankful that I'm aware now, and I'm working so hard on being the healthiest version of me, because I didn't know how out of shape I was. And once if you are in that spot, guys, like, don't feel bad. We've talked about this a ton, and this might even go towards the like, don't smoke or try to live as long as you can. Small percentages, small choices, small things, little wins every single day is what's going to help you, at least in my mind, help you get through life in the best way. Whether it's your finances, and it's like, I could eat out or I could eat at home. Just if you make that choice to eat at home, like, you made one positive step into a better financial situation. If it's health, it's like, I have this battle all the time where I'm like, oh, I can stop at Taco Bell real quick. I'll just get one beefy 5-layer burrito, only one beefy 5-layer burrito. And it's like, I want to do it so bad. And then I like, there's the exit, and I don't take the exit. I'm like, that was one positive in the right direction of a healthier lifestyle. So little wins, always go for them. Do your best to live as long as you can because people around you want you around.
To add on to that, literally yesterday, so I was just in Vegas and we were eating not terrible, but at the same time you're limited on your choices. And so I my stomach was bothering me a couple of those days, and that's like just I kind of knew that was going to happen, so we came prepared, got some Pepto, got my Tums with me. I'm an old man at this point, that's what I do. But when I got back into town, literally I was picking up I was at the grocery store yesterday and I was so hungry, and I was like, you know what sounds amazing right now? A glazed donut, just to eat it fast and just to fill me up a little bit. And I was like, no, I don't need it. And I was like, but I really want it. I was like, but I don't need it. I literally went and looked at the donuts at King Soopers, at Kroger, and I was like, like I want it so bad. I was like, no, I will feel so bad after eating this. I was like, I don't want this, and it's something I don't need. I don't need the sugar. I don't need the carbs. I don't need any of this. I just didn't. I was even looking at the glass, and I was about to grab a thing, and I was like fighting myself, and I was like, no, I don't need this. And I just, turned around and left, and bought my stuff and left. And I was just like,
proud of you, bro.
Just those small wins. It's not that that's like a major problem I've had is like donuts, but it's more so it's like, that sounded so good in the moment, but I was like, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. And it's just a small wins. Small wins build up over time.
A donut is a food that you've never eaten and felt better after eating. Like it goes down, it tastes so good, they're fluffy. Oh, you pound a donut. But then you're never like, dang man, I feel great. That donut made me feel great.
All right, this is perfect time. Shadow's running around. Yes, I've never eaten a donut afterward, but my wife just got home, so Shadow's ready to go outside. He's running. He's literally running around the room right now. I know, buddy. I know. But that's a great note to end the podcast on. Just have small wins, guys. Just try to do the best you can to be the healthiest version of you, to last. They'll be long as you can, and to become a video game character one day, as Johnathan says. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
To last as long as you can.
Last as long as you can. Got anything else to say, bro?
Don't eat donuts.
Don't eat donuts.
Football season's here. I'm hyped. Snowboard season's almost here. This is the best time of the year, and I'm really excited for the podcast during the winter. I think it's going to be a game changer for the podcast. If you're new, like, subscribe, like Ben was saying, and guys, we appreciate you.
We'll see you guys next week with another podcast. Peace.